to Life by Design from the bottom up. So today we're sitting here with Alvaro Nuñez. He is the founder and CEO at Super Luxury Group and was also named, why I'm calling him the James Bond man, because he was named the action man of luxury real estate by Forbes. So this is another super entrepreneur in Miami. So how did you get started, Alvaro?
Well, thank you for having me here. I'm super thrilled to be here.
Pleasure to have you.
Look, I can't believe we're watching. This is so cool.
Like minds think together.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. No, I'm super excited about it. And definitely I wanted to talk more about the business side on how things get started, because we're in Miami, the city of entrepreneurship, but there is so many beautiful things going on in here and the people that we connect with. So for myself, it was all about finding the people that could inspire me to become better in life. And it all started with a dream. You know, I didn't come from a lot of wealth and success, so it kind of goes into this crossroads decision. As a kid, I always dreamt to become a tennis player. And it was right at that time where there was a big crisis. I didn't mention this, but I'm from Madrid, Spain, and there was a huge crisis in 2008. My father was a developer and an architect, and he got a heart attack. We ended up losing everything. So it was that difficult situation where I had to decide what I will do next. And I wanted to provide for my family, and I really wanted to leverage what I've been gaining through tennis. And that's why I looked into the American dream, coming into the US with a tennis scholarship, getting my education, getting more into the dream city that I wanted to go, which was Miami. Started to work for a company, which all went well until, voila, I had to leave the country. And that's when I had to decide which direction I wanted to go. I didn't go back to Spain, like most people will thought it will be the right route to go. So I went to Dominican Republic and I started a business. But I always knew that I wanted to come back to the States because there was something about the entrepreneurship mentality that really drove me, and I knew I was going to come back. And a few years later, I ended up coming in here with my investor visa to found Super Luxury Group.
Wow, that's and tell us another thing. You built like a huge social media platform. You have like 1 million followers. Tell us a little bit about that and how you've used your social media to build your business, build your brand.
A lot of people take years to build a huge following and to build an audience. So for myself, it was, all right, if I want to accelerate, because I'm 28 years old and I didn't want to go the same route that a lot of people in real estate have been doing it. So for me, it was, how can I tap into OPA, other people audiences? So I was starting to look into who are the ones that have already built those platforms. Influencer marketing was not really a big thing in real estate. It was happening in other industries. So my first business was renting luxury villas in jet set locations. So I saw an opportunity in there because if I ever wanted to reach my potential clientele, which was in this case celebrities like Will Smith, Kim Kardashian, how do I get to those guys? Ideally, I saw that what these people were doing is they were following certain individuals on social media, and some of them were what we call today influencers. So I saw that they were using their brand to promote products. So I said, this is perfect. Why don't we invite it to stay at these villas? Because for the property owners, it was a no-brainer because the properties don't rent 100% of the time. There is some downtime. And that's the time where we wanted to invite these individuals there. So while they were promoting the properties, they were also promoting my brand, and I was definitely associating myself to them and growing tremendously through that route.
So that's amazing because you were also featured in Entrepreneur, Travel and Leisure, Forbes, Thrive Global, IBT. So tell us about that.
Well, it's all about becoming a little bit of an outlier, have something interesting for people to talk about, not just to be another one.
And I always say you have to be an outlier. You have to do what everyone else doesn't want to do.
Exactly. And that's the route of becoming a successful entrepreneur, of doing something that you might be afraid of, but that you believe in. And I always say, it's about creating a business that fuels your passion. What can I bring to the table that other people don't do? I got my skydiving license. I'm a helicopter pilot. I started to do all kinds of activities that not the average people will do.
So you are an outlier. You're doing things, again, that no one wants to do. I mean, how many people skydive? How many people climb the highest mountains? I mean, you've climbed, tell some of the mountains you climbed.
Well, recently this year I did Kilimanjaro, which is the tallest mountain in Africa. And I'm doing the second summit tallest mountain this winter in Aconcagua, which is the tallest mountain in South America. And then next year, I'm going to go to the Himalayas and get a step closer to the Everest.
You're also Ironman.
Yeah, I just recently completed my third Ironman, which is a super endurance triathlon.
So you clearly have discipline to do all that, and you have drive. So what can you share with us, a special breakthrough that was an enlightening moment, like in your career?
I've been going through some breakthroughs as a young kid, from being in Spain and all of a sudden my father having a heart attack and having to switch directions in my life to come to the States, which opened me a lot of opportunities. But I would say the most recent breakthrough that maybe some people can relate to it, and I was a bit more mature to know what to do, is when I finally was able to come back to the States with my investor visa. I was engaged at the time. And, I was obviously envisioning this beautiful life with my future wife, and a beautiful property. And as I got here, I found out she was with someone else. So that was devastating. That was something that I did not expect at all.
But you turned that into fuel.
It's because I remember you don't want to let a bad situation turn into something so negative that you cannot get out of it. You want to turn it as an opportunity. And for me, it was about, how can I turn this anger, this sadness, this fear into fuel? And that pain became my new fuel. So I remember that same night, my family has a property in Key Biscayne. So I went down there, and instead of crying, I said, okay, how can I Google toughest challenges in the world? So I Googled that, and I saw in that list Ironman. So I signed up for the Ironman without previous experience of swimming or biking or even like long distance running. But that was a moment that I went into a big challenge. And when I was about to quit in that process, it always reminds me of how I started, why I chose to go that route. And I remember when I finished my first Ironman, I was like, wow, that's the whatever it takes mentality. And when you apply that mindset to anything you do in life, you're unstoppable. You're unstoppable.
That's what I always say. So Alvaro, hold that thought right there. We're going to be back in 1 minute.
Hi guys, it's Ty Hanner. Please check out my new book, Makeover from Within, and you're watching the Connect Network. I'm Chris Lamont.
I'm Calvin Lamont.
And we are from HETV's Buy to Build It. And you can follow us on Instagram at the Chris Lamont and at the Calvin Lamont. And we're excited to be here.
Find us on the Connect Network TV.
Stay tuned.
% of businesses fail in the first 5 years. It is sad. And one of the number one reasons is because of the lack of capital. Hi winners, my name is Terry Kauser and I'm a credit expert, and I specialize in helping entrepreneurs and investors leverage their personal and business credit to get $100,000 and more in funding super fast. I can't wait to share with you on The Connect Show.
At Emily Miller Aesthetic Medicine, we take 10 years off your face without looking like you've had work done. How we do this is as experts in the world's #1 medical grade skincare line, we craft a program unique to you that's going to transform your skin. For a virtual skincare consultation in our online store, visit emily-rn.com and use the code CONNECT for 10% off your purchase.
Welcome back to Life by Design from the bottom up. We are here with Alvaro Nuñez, our James Bond action man by Forbes. So I want to ask you, building an empire at 28, tell us about that.
Well, I mean, a lot of people think that it takes, just a couple of things to have that 20-year overnight success, I call it, right? Because it's not something that just happened overnight. It's all the years behind. And again, I'm really far from having an empire. I'm aiming towards that, but I'm far from it. I'm just working towards that, and I'm doing it in a way that I'm feeling super passionate each step of the way. Because the reality is that I've been in a position where I've worked for someone else to fulfill their dreams. And it got to the point where I got that wake-up call when I couldn't get my work visa and I had to leave the country, where I realized, wow, my life is so out of balance. I put so much energy and effort towards someone else's dream to all of a sudden taken away. And that's when you start realizing that you need to fulfill your own dreams, have a vision that you are sticking to it. And for me, it was at that time where when you look at the wheel of life, which is basically all the different areas of your life, how out of balance it was. So building an empire is not necessarily something that you do for your business, it's that you do with your life. So when I look at my life, I'm not looking at how can I build super luxury group to have the best real estate company in the world. It is my objective to grow in that direction. However, I'm looking at other areas as well. That's how you will see me traveling the world, spending time with my family very often and taking care of my health to next levels. You see me on the red light and doing all these different things. So I am looking to all the different areas as, let's call it empire, since we're using that term in here. And what I will say is that for somebody that is in their early 20s or somebody young that is starting to build their business or their career, to take a moment to really identify what their life looks like and which direction they want to go, not just for the business, but in all the different areas. And once you have that, then you're going to feel, and again, we're not talking about an average life. We're talking about an outstanding life in every area of your life. And that's what's going to propel you to move forward. Because if you have a flat wheel, you will still move forward, but eventually you're going to start going and dragging that, and it's going to eventually get you very tired and not that far. So you want to take care of each wheel, and that's going to help you build that empire.
But you're also doing different things. You're taking care of your health. You're traveling. So you're enjoying your life as you're building, as you're
Correct.
doing the journey. So your life is interesting. You make it interesting. You're constantly traveling. So for me, that's like important. People just work, but they don't enjoy the ride going up. And so you've managed that you enjoy the ride going up. I mean, you're doing so many new and different things. You're like a true outlier. And I think that's amazing. What other advice would you give to all the people in the 20s?
I'm saying that it's not about playing it safe. It's about taking the risk.
You take the risk, skydive.
Well, I mean, maybe I'm not saying take those kind of risks. My poor mother,
Flying a helicopter.
if she doesn't even know about it. Nobody really knows about this. Like, this is something that I'll be releasing as I launch my first book in a couple weeks.
That's right. You have your book. It's called Level Up.
Exactly.
So tell us about that book.
Well, it's a reflection on really how to level up in life. So if you ever thought that you have a dream and you had a vision at some point in your life, I have found so many people that gave up on that dream so quickly because whatever obstacle it might have happened. So the subtitle of the book is turning your obstacles into superpowers, because the same way that I was referring earlier on that breakup or, that moment of difficulties, you can turn that into a superpower. 100%. And that book is all about that. It's about how to stay true to your vision, to your dreams, and then whatever obstacle you're facing, turn it into a superpower and help you take on even farther.
I always say, like gasoline, whatever obstacle, whatever they tell you no, I just turn that into like gasoline.
Adding to the fire. Let's go. Let's go. Keep on going. No, but about the question that you ask on another advice that I will be giving.
Yes.
You're not alone in this journey, right? A lot of people feel like, oh my God, but I don't know anybody around my little circle to help me get there. Like, oh, Alvaro, yeah, you know all these other successful people. I didn't know anybody. When I moved to the US, I went to Silver City, New Mexico. So if you haven't even heard of that place, I encourage you to Google it, because it was quite a different location from where I came in Madrid, and definitely very far from what I thought the American dream would be. But the way that you build your network is by always thinking, how can I give to the world? I didn't have really any raw talent. I was not the guy that knew people or had all these things figured out. And I remember when I first got the chance of coming back to Miami, it was through tennis. I was in Boca Raton doing my master's, and I remember taking the train from Boca Raton to Miami into the buildings that had tennis courts, because I was like, okay, what do I have? So my advice is, what is your talent? What is the talent? What is something that you can add value on without expecting anything in return? For me, it was tennis, because that's all I focused on. So I went to all the top buildings in Miami that had tennis courts, and I just stood there, and I was looking at the tennis courts, who was in there, who was playing. I was giving some advice, and then eventually the guys was like, oh my God, are you a coach? Oh yeah, absolutely. So I started coaching those people. Eventually, those people turned into great contacts. Those contacts turned into somebody that will hire me for my first job outside of tennis. And it's about leveraging whatever skills you have and keep on developing and adding value, because people want to help people if you have the right energy. So I didn't think that in my early 20s I could add much value outside of tennis. But what I saw is that there is so many people, especially here in Miami, very wealthy, very wealthy. They had it all on paper. I look at these people and it's like,
But they were missing.
there is something missing. And I remember a lot of people say like, oh my God, Alvaro, you're such a fresh air of positive energy.
So we're going to hold that thought for right now.
And coming up next, Alvaro Nuñez talks relationships.
I help women make money and increase their net worth. You can find me at mommymillionaire.co, and you can watch me on the Connect Network TV. Make sure to tune in.
Welcome back to Life by Design from the Bottom Up. We are here with Alvaro Nuñez, our James Bond's Miami outlier. Boundless, limitless. So let's talk about relationships in business. Let's get up close and personal, and relationships in women.
Well, maybe here in Miami, you can't get a bit dangerous. No, but I'll tell you that because of what we were talking about, you're always one person away from changing your entire life. And you never know. A lot of people get themselves so locked up in their own comfort zone. Oh my God, I'm so afraid of going there. What if they don't like me? Who cares? Go and meet people, because you never know what that person that you meet that night is going to end up being your life.
I always say that. Like I said, you never know. That person changes your life. As I always say, step foot out of your house. You never know who you're going to meet and how your world's going to change.
Correct. And I will encourage everybody that is listening to do that exercise. Think about a moment in your life that has changed completely, and who was the person that was involved in that process? Was it a conversation that you had with somebody? Was it somebody that you meet? I mean, for me, I could tell you so many moments that I met somebody randomly, but by me putting me in there. It's not just that somebody knocked at the door in my home. It's like, hey, Alvaro, hi. No, it's me going somewhere. You build those opportunities.
I always say sitting home gets you nothing.
Exactly.
They get you broken single.
What?
That's what I said.
Exactly.
Listen, if you're not out there, they don't know you exist. They're not coming to my door and saying, Monica, how are you? I'm going out there.
That's true.
I'm a huntress. I go out there. I hunt for business.
That's not the way. That's the way to look at life.
Every day I meet people.
And listen, that's how you add into each other's lives. You're not here to subtract from somebody. You're here to add. And when you go with that mentality, a lot of doors open. And talking about relationships, if we got a bit more intimate, so many relationships out there that don't really add anything to your life because everybody's expecting somebody from you. You go into a relationship and the person is expecting you to do this, and that. But when you are first in love with yourself, you are truly, truly valuable on your own terms, on who you are. And you are only going into any relationship from a position of strength, and you're going there to just give yourself and the person that you're with your 100%. That's where things happen, right? But the other person needs to be in that perspective as well. And don't expect anything from that person. I always looked at my current relationships as an amazing blessing because we are both happy on our own terms. We don't need each other, but we're both walking a path that is going in the same direction.
Balls rolling.
And we just adding to each other. And that's such a beautiful thing. It's very rare to find. But if you are good on yourself and you're not demanding anything on the other person, that's when true magic can happen.
Or don't expect anything. You walk into a situation and it's always like, how can I help you? What can I do for you? When you go in with that attitude, like, listen, you can help people. Sometimes it doesn't come back for the people you help, but your life is always abundance. I always believe the more you give back, you're just helping yourself. It's rebuilding your DNA, your telomeres, as Greg Braden says. Right. And the abundance comes from someone else. As long as your life is abundant, just always keep giving.
That's the mindset abundance. And I love what you mentioned about that if we talk about health, because it's about your health.
It's my wealth, it's my happiness.
Everything. And I will say that a lot of people, especially in Miami, you might find both lines, right? Those that really take care of themselves, but those that go out and party. And you can do both. You can do a mix of everything as long as you keep the discipline of doing those morning routines. Such a strong thing that no matter what, you keep into the morning routine. The morning routine should contain anything that is going to launch you for that day. For me, it's all about health. Working out in the morning, doing the things that are actually good for yourself. Your body is your temple. Why do you want to put all those negative things into it? So I think that, look, if you want to live a successful life in anything you do, you need to look at health because that was going to propel you forward.
What good is it if you make all this money and you're successful, but you're not healthy? For me, I always say my health is my wealth and it's my happiness. I've been successful because of that. I'm disciplined to work out, to get up in the morning. I know you meditate, you run in the morning. You're constantly reading new books. I mean, for me, it's like a game changer, always living and learning.
And I will say that, especially growing up around athletes, there's a lot of people that have reached a point of depression. So when you talk about health, it's also so important about your mind because that's what's going to keep you going. And I always love to bring this quote because I know we're going to wrap this up. And I wanted to mention how the biggest adventure you can ever live is to live the life of your dreams. And that's something that Oprah Winfrey said. And I can live by that every single day, because a lot of people forget to dream. And the adventure of your own dreams, that's the most important thing. So I want to encourage everybody to dream big and take action. And don't let any obstacle derail you, but instead take you forward.
That is amazing, because everybody needs to live their dreams, execute, make it happen. But the day you stop dreaming is the day it's not good.
It's not good at all.
Oh, God, you have to keep dreaming and dreaming, because life is a dream. The way you think it and you execute and you take action, your dreams will always be a reality.
I love it.
Alvaro, thank you so much for your time. We've learned so much. So how do the people follow you and with your 1 million followers, and how do they get to work with you?
Well, I mean, they can reach out anywhere on social media, but where I'm the most active is on Instagram. You can just find me at Alvaro Nuñez. And yeah, I mean, you can send me a DM or shoot an email. I'm pretty active on DMs and emails, so I'm happy to connect with everybody that is interested on doing anything related to luxury real estate, or if you are down for a big adventure, I always love to do those things as well. And just connecting with interesting people, because as we said before, this is about building a community of like-minded people that really want to take life to the next level.
So if you guys want to skydive, follow him on Instagram. He can skydive, he can take you up the highest mountain. Whatever adventure you want to do, talk to this guy. Thanks for being with us on Life by Design from the bottom up. We'll see you right here next week.